The rain is beautiful. The birds are really loving it this morning. They were all over the lawn until the dog went out. Don't know what kind of birds. Always watching them and trying to figure it out, but I can never figure it out. Hi guys, how are you today? I hope it's a good day for you. You know, this winter has been such a struggle for me, and it's just really taken its toll. I feel like I haven't done anything for the past couple weeks, and it's really starting to annoy me. Um, the dogs are getting in again, so if they make noise, I'm really sorry about that. I thought I had the doors closed, so hopefully they won't make too much noise. And hopefully you can hear me because I know I'm a little bit soft-spoken, and I do try and turn up the volume on these videos for you guys so you can hear me a little bit. Yeah, let's get back to, it's been a rough winter. It's been a really rough winter. There's a lot of things going on. My daughter's sick, and I'm helping her out with her little girls on the weekends, and so I feel like I work so hard taking care of them on the weekends that during the week I'm wiped out and I don't get anything done. And I'm really frustrated because I have so many projects planned and so much to do. And I'm sharing my space. We call this the playroom, and I have my sewing stuff in here, and so it's supposed to be my playroom. And then we had my daughter's computer desk in here for a while, and her and her friends would hang out. So I'm sharing this space with them, and now the little girls, they weren't allowed in here for a long time because I have pins and stuff, and I didn't want to have to completely take up my projects. But now that this is the room that we allow them to be in more because they're over here more, and they need space. And so just sharing space and being utterly disorganized in my own person, and the fibro takes its toll because I start a project and I don't have the energy to finish it, so I just put it away and stash it here, stash it there. So I've got boxes of things that I've started, and my sewing desk right now is just piled high with stuff that I'm trying to move out of the way from the grandbabies, and you know and I don't know, it's really taking its toll on me. And I love my family. That's the most important thing to me is the family, and helping my daughter out through this hard time. And so, I don't resent it at all. I love having them over. I love being able to get to know them on a personal basis. I'm really lucky that as a grandmother, I get to see my granddaughters so often and spend time with them and see who they are and who they're growing up to be and see the possibilities of their lives. It's just really, really, really exciting for me to see all that. And I love it. I love them. And but it's taken its toll on me creatively, and it's just the truth. It's the way it is. We give up things for our families, and we have to deal with stuff because of our fibro, and relegate things, delegate. Some things get done and some things don't. We have to give up on certain things because of our fibro. That's just the way it is. So I realized I've been looking for this quilt top for the past couple years because my playroom got moved. My sewing stuff got moved from the living room into the playroom, and my husband helped me with that process. And unfortunately, I got exhausted and I just had to go lay down. And so he finished, and that whole move, a whole finished quilt top that I had finished got lost. I can't find it anywhere. I've been through boxes, and it's just, it's really frustrating. And I need to be more organized. I need to have, this box is dedicated to projects in the works, and this space, I don't know how to do it. I am not an organized person. I just like to throw things here and have things there, and I like to be able to see what I'm working on, and contemplate this design. If I could have 10-foot walls and have things plastered all over the walls. I think that would make me happy. But the reality is I don't have that luxury. I don't have a big space for myself. So I have to share it and I have to move things around. So I need to find ways to be more organized. And I've been looking at the bullet journals, and that intrigues me. And there's some actual project planners that people have been showing online lately that they have their book where they have, this project is what I'm working on. This is the fabric that goes with it. This is the pattern that goes with it. And it's all in one book. And that's a project planner. But they have to find some other way to organize where they keep their fabrics and how they keep. Oh, it's a lot. It's really a lot. One of these days maybe I'll get out my whole stash and show you my whole stash and you take a tour, but I'm not ready to do that. It's a lot to just contemplate in my brain. My brain won't handle that crap. So that's where we are. So in the past, I have been more organized. I've, taken things and had a structure, more of a structure. And that's when, it's probably before my concussion and before my brain fog got so thick that I can't process from 1 minute to the next minute and actually have the whole concept in my brain at one time. There's pieces here and there and everywhere. And that's the reality of what I have to deal with now. So I need to come up with a new structure, a new way to say, this is my space. Nobody touch this space. This is what I have organized. And, if I just spend 15-20 minutes a day organizing, or 15 or 20 minutes a week organizing, I think it will help me out a lot. So I'll show you what I've done in the past. A long time ago, when I was first making quilts, I got this this composition book, and this one, I just like stickers. I'm a noob. I forget the word. Anyway, so I have, on the top it's a graph paper, and I can make a drawing of the quilt, and then underneath I can make notes of what I want to do. And on this first page right here, I know you can't read it because it's really small. I used to write really small, because of my eyesight, I've been writing bigger. So I had all the quilts that I had made listed, and when I'd finished them, and so I could keep record. And I actually had a folder for a while, and I was taking a picture of each quilt as I finished it. And I think I have 3 quilts in there that I actually finished and that managed to take a good picture of and put in there. So this composition workbook really, it helps me organize my designs that I want to come up with, but it doesn't necessarily say, this is a project that I want to do, this is what I want to complete. This is just more for ideas and, a record of what, thoughts I had. And it's all in one place, but I didn't, keep on using this because the spot that I used to actually draw out let me raise it up and find the blank page. So the spot up here is kind of small for a quilt, and then I don't really need this much room for notes. So I haven't been using this, but I'm still keeping it around because it's a good record, and I can continue to add things to it, and it's one book. So I have this other composition book, and that's where I've written down, how to do things. Like when I was learning how to figure out the measurement of the binding, how to figure out how much I actually needed for the binding. I wrote all that down, and how to square up a quilt and stuff like that. So that's what's in here, and that's just for reference to go back to. And I actually got a big quilting book, and that's all in there, so I don't really need that anymore because I can go back to the big quilting book. So, and then it evolved into, okay, my projects. This is a quilt that, you know, I decided I really want to make this quilt, so I'm going to go ahead with the project. And I, you know, started storing them in baggies. I did all my fabric as I found it, because it takes a long time sometimes to find just the right fabric that goes well with everything else. And so I would make up these cards, and I would actually glue on a piece of the fabrics that I had found. This is the inspiration fabric, and when I wanted to match, and then I'd go to the store, the quilt stores, and I would, you know, I would have this right there to match the fabrics and see how well they would go with what I already had going. So that really helped out. But you know, it's hard for me to plan ahead far enough to say, okay, I want to grab these cards and take them to the store with me. So maybe I can come up with a different thing, you know. And I thought of pictures because, you know, that's always on my phone. It would be something I could reference back to. But the colors on the pictures don't always come out right. So I, you know, maybe I need to come up, I don't know, with another plan. And then this evolved into, because I didn't, on this card, I didn't necessarily have space or whatever to write the design. You know, I just was using this to match fabrics. And then I did start going to larger graph paper to plan my quilt, so I could actually draw out the quilt and have plenty of space to plan each square and how it was going to come out. And that's kind of helping out a little bit. I'm sorry. You know, I can use a piece of graph paper and plan out a whole size quilt, and then, you know, I have the back where I can, and that's good. But then how do I store all these pieces of paper? How do I organize them? You know, this one was hanging on my wall here. I planned my inspiration wall, just because I stuck it up there because I didn't want to lose it. And you know, another thing that I've lost, I planned this quilt a long time ago, and I actually have all the fabrics. I had started it, you know, I'm piecing together all these little squares, and I had a big full-size scale model done in freezer paper, you know, and then I could just trace out what each square and then cut it out as I was going, and that's disappeared too in the big move. So now I have to either, you know, I have these pieces already started, and now I have to try, you know, I think I've talked about this in another video. It's really frustrating to have all that kind of hanging over my head, you know, that I know I've started these projects, and, you know, especially with the whole quilt top that's lost. That's really, it's really bothered me that got lost. And, you know, I've got so many projects in the works and not finishing anything. Another thing that I do in my creative process, I love the quilters magazines. You know, there's a few of them. And I have stacks and stacks of them that I've looked through, and I like to go back and reference them. And what I started doing was going through and actually cutting out the picture of a quilt that I really like and pasting that in a book, you know, another composition book, and, you know, pasting them all in there and making notes or whatever. And that's come up missing now too. I thought I knew where it was, and it just wasn't where I thought it was. Another thing that I've come up with, I started putting things in a binder, you know, just a regular binder, and so I have, you know, the quilt care tips that I send out with each quilt that I sell, and then this is a project that's been planned, and then back here, because I make dolls, I've made dolls, and I really enjoy that, and I have a pattern that I printed out for a doll that I could, you know, base my doll patterns on. And but this is so bulky, you know, it's hard to manage, and I like little things, little dainty things. I don't know. So I'm looking for a bullet journal. I don't want a little one. I need a bigger one, and maybe a project planner book, or I might just end up getting a regular sketchbook and piecing things in there. But I do need one book to put things that this is a project that I planned, and I need one box where I'm putting everything that I have started, instead of this is there and that's piled here and wherever else on my quilt wall. And so if you guys have any ideas for me, I'd love to hear them. Um, I hope you're having a good day, week, month, year. It's all a process we go through, and whether we have fibromyalgia or we don't, whether it's always a process just to get through life. And I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching today. Doodles.